Hi everybody. Welcome to this series of focusing conversations through which you will get to know the extraordinary members of our online forest training program. I'm so pleased to include you via these videos in our exciting and timely project of using Genlin's focusing to empower community life. Hi, everybody. We are very fortunate to have Ruth Rosenblum as part of our project. And we were talking earlier about what we're trying to do, here. Ruth said, I want to really get what exactly we're trying to do here. And it's quite challenging because our second meeting was the day after Election Day, and everybody was very anxious and tense. And I've just moved back to New York, and the backdrop of our class was helicopters and sirens, which seemed to be a good soundtrack, for our group. And the purpose of this group, and we're going to be talking about that more, we're going to spell it out as much as we can as we go along. The purpose of it is to see how focusing can help us to create the sense of this belonging, this usness, this home that includes all the diversity. The sense of what Greg Madison calls the inner democracy, where all of the voices inside us are welcome, and the outer democracy of the voices between us. And then, of course, there's this large democracy that we're embedded in, and even larger out there. And we're trying to see how we can make real communication in a world that's so fragmented and so polarized. Oh my God.
I said to Lynn, to be on another Zoom call at 6 o'clock at night for almost 3 hours after you've been working on Zoom all day long, if it's not really important, I'm not going to be doing it. And I had a hard time. I was feeling annoyed and anxious and what am I doing and the point of this? But there is something that is deeply interesting. We know in focusing, it's hard enough to be able to create an inner democracy. We don't want to listen to things. We don't want to hear. There's the exile, there is the other, there is, right? So it's so hard to do it just in one, and then to have to do that. How many people were there last night? 25, 30?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of folk. Mm. And it's a lot of folk from a lot of different places. And it is a diverse group. If this species is going to survive, if we're going to, we've got to make a move in consciousness and in relatedness and in understanding. I
just want to underscore what you're saying there, that, if it's not really important, you're not going to spend the whole night on Zoom again.
No. There's so many important things, and we're tired and we're working hard.
What's important is that we need to make some kind of move forward if we're going to survive as a species. And then when you said there's some potential here, I could feel that coming through you.
One thing is like there's some desperateness. We're up against the wall. This stuff is global. If we're going to make it,
it's sort of like the two sides, right, Ruth? There's some desperation here, and there's some potential here.
There's like a mandate. We're familiar with focusing philosophy. And lots of people in our groups are connected in other kind of spiritual and meditative paths and so on. And so we talk about things like interaction first, right? And that we are relational beings, and and Thich Nhat Hanh's interbeingness, right? So there is this, at least conceptual understanding of this big life.
Jenlin called the big system.
The big system, yeah, yeah.
There's also in that philosophy the sense of the big life coming through each of us very, very, very individually and particularly, and also that individual particularness is not a separate thing.
Right.
It's the interaction of everything that is unique in particular that then makes this whole great big system upon system.
Right.
Yeah.
And something happened last night in the force meeting where in the small groups, one of the members of my group offered a different perspective than I was talking about. And it was, I really got it. And it was so healing for me. Mm-hmm. That if I could see certain things that were going on politically right now in that way, the way she was offering, I might be able to tolerate it a little bit better.
Yeah. I love that it's healing for you when you can let in the perspective of the other. It relaxes something, it broadens something.
Yes.
Your capacity to hold it because you're bigger than. And
that's, it broadens something, and the group energies with the right intention or being planted in the right soil.
Yes.
The group planted in this soil of intention, that everyone in it grows individually, and the group organism itself expands, and that's my experience of that.
Yes.
And that there is some greater,
that part about how the group is an organism itself, and that organism grows. That when
the capacity of that organism grows to be able to hold and hold and hold,
right,
in the ways that we do through our practice.
And as the organism grows, then the individuals grow, and as the individuals can grow and sort of challenge themselves to shift into that receptivity, then the organism of the group grows.
Continues to grow, and that's the right. That's my sense of this. When you asked me what did I say anything more I wanted to contribute after you sent me the email? And I wrote down that the force group can feel to me like a laboratory for developing skills and capacities to really be with the other, this self and that self and that self, to really be with the other, knowing that the other is also a reflection and in connectedness too.
In interaction, it's this
interaction and in here and here and here. We live in this ecology, right? And how do we do that?
Important to me before when we were talking that you said, oh, I get it. This is a practice group.
Yeah.
We're practicing something. And we're practicing what you said to me. It's not just about practicing to be able to talk to the people who think differently out there, to the other side, whatever that other side is, but it's the practicing with each other, all of the voices among us, and in this moment, how we're and even how you and I are navigating. How do we bring this conversation that we had before to people now, and how do we catch that? And am I interrupting you? Are you interrupting me? Or how are we? together and making room for all of the nuances.
Yeah. If we can really come from a place of not just conceptually knowing, but knowing, living, this being truly experiencing or knowing in some deep way our belongingness to this larger,
Yes.
and that we are separate in skin envelope beings, but even that skin is porous and full of holes, and everything is this, right? Everything is process. The process model, right? Everything is process, and we are in constant interaction with everything around us and each other.
And we are that.
We are that. And how do we be that
Mm-hmm.
in a better
way?
For the benefit of all of us?
Right.
Because we know that we are in connectedness, and this respect and awe for this incredible web of life, and the life we've been given, and the life that comes through us, and how to be those vessels, and an individual vessel, but then there is this potential of this group. And we all have difficulty, various kinds of difficulties being in groups, and all things get stirred up. Am I like them? Am I talking to them? I'm not talking, right? Everything that happens when we are in groups.
All our personal stuff, all our cultural stuff, or all our political stuff, all our social stuff, from vibrations deep inside, from everything. Yes, all that gets stirred up. And we're taking on a brave challenge of seeing, can we really meet each other there? You're asking me, how can we in this group be in touch with the big connectedness? And I was saying, well, from my point of view, the complicatedness is that we all do it in different ways, that we aren't like-minded, or even like-processed, or like-bodied, like-cultured. Even when we get together and we think, oh, well, we have focusing in common, that means many, many things to many people.
Right.
And each of us has our own way of being in touch with that, with the sense of that big connectedness and the contact with the other, and to make room for everybody's process that's really different. Somebody else, the concepts don't mean anything, but maybe the settling into the body is what means something. To somebody else, it's the going head to head in some moment, and surviving that, and being able to express the feelings that brings. We're all so
different,
alike, and so different, and we have to sort of make room for all these different ways. So that's a very big challenge that we have.
It's huge. We're all here together, like in Force or in this other group, with some common longing or need, but we come to Force with a need or a desire for something.
We all need connectedness, and we all need a sense of belonging. We all need a relational home. And
yes, and I think that all of us are there. I mean, the name of the group is, say it again.
Focusing-oriented relational community empowerment.
Community empowerment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So everyone is there with something about how do we do this? Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. They're interested in community, which is the group empowerment.
Yeah.
Right? And so we could count on that in some way. That becomes like a...
Well, we could count
foundational, sorry.
Right. I think that we can't count on people consciously, intentionally being there for any particular reason, because people, both reasons may be very different, and we aren't committed to any particular
Right, right. There's no particular, but there is a commitment to something or a
Right,
desire for that other that.
right. And we can count on that every human being has this deep longing for connectedness in some way. We can count on that, and we're trying to build our relationship, our relational home on that foundation.
Right. And that we are practicing living that.
Building a house together, yes.
You know, through awareness of one's own state at any given moment and behavior, and feeling safe enough to share and speak from difficult places, and working with one's own anxieties, and all the work that we have to do when we are together in group, in order for us to be able to, I don't know, to be a greater container, greater vessel, greater, I don't know what the words are, than any of us could be individually.
And maybe this might be a place for us to stop with counting on this, right? Counting on this longing in every human being.